Hey, this is Dave. Say I need to make a repair to my Mad River Freedom canoe. This canoe was built in 1990. It is 28 years old, and this is the first repair that I'm needing to do on it. So I just wiped down the bottom of it. As you can see, she's in really good shape. She has some minor wear factors as she is a whitewater canoe. The original owner sold her to me in 2008, so 10 years ago, and he was a very avid whitewater canoeist. Wisconsin area, Michigan, Minnesota, and Canada. So this boat is about 16 feet long. She's got a 4-inch rocker, weighs 72 pounds when she came out of the factory, and then he added skid plates to her, so she's about 1.5 pounds more than that now. So we pulled the canoe up high last night. Just as we were pulling in from the evening paddle so we could get phone signal out on the lake, I leaned against the seat to get leverage and broke right through the cane seat. And so I used some bank line, it's 38-pound test nylon line, and just weaved it through. And it works great. It's certainly not a permanent fix. It's temporary until I get home and I can, now that I know what I'm doing. And Keith had that second perspective for me. But now I know how to weave this out, and I might use 550 cord for it. The cane seat on this broke during our last camping trip, and so I was able to field repair it with 39-pound tensile strength line, but we just did it real quick out in the field so we can get her back home. And so what I'm going to do now is take everything apart that we did in the field, and I'm going to replace all of that string with some man-made sinew. And man-made sinew is like dental floss, about 4 strips of it. And so I'm very hopeful that that's going to survive another 20 plus years after I get done with it. So that's the project for the day. Well, I've got the old string off, and I'm just going to take this part right here out. As you can imagine, after 28 years it's pretty brittle, but this is what holds the cane webbing in place. So I'm just going to use a knife and very carefully work my way around to remove that so I don't damage the wood, which is the frame structure of it. So I'm electing to remove the webbing simply by cutting it off, and then I go back and trim it out so it's even with the wood here. So that came off real clean, and then I'll just clean all of this up just using a knife. So that's all cleaned up around the edges, nice and smoothed out. I think I'll take a piece of 200 grit sandpaper and run it across it real quick, just to make sure there's no burrs or anything like that that's going to impact the man-made sinew that I'm going to use next. Well, off the spool I've cut about a 36-foot stretch of this man-made sinew, And I've done the first attachment here at the corner, and so I'm going to go ahead and start running a line. My intent is to do it about every ½ inch. And I need this to be on top. So, trial and error. I went from bottom up. I need to go from top down in order to keep the string on top. Here we go. Top down. So we're just going to do a weave pattern. So this part right here, I'm going to go this way, and then the next I'll run this way, but when I'm going this way I'll be weaving in and out. I do have a blanket underneath the canoe, so it is not on the pavement itself. Let's see here. So I need this to come back up on top. Let's see how to do this. Trial and error. Let me get this figured out and I'll bring you back up to date. Okay, so I've got it figured out. I've done 3. So you simply run the line across the top, run a knot in it, place it about where you want it, and work it back and forth to get the knot to set very close to this edge. And then your next one, you run it from top to bottom. If you want to create a full knot, run it back through. Back and forth gently. Let it cinch itself down. It's in position where you want it, and you're on to your next line. Up and through to create the knot. Set it about where you want it. Work it back and forth. Create the tension you want. So I've gotten 3/4 of the way across with that 36 feet. So I've got about 20% left to do. And so about 12 feet will do it. I'll make it substantially longer because after I finish this, I'll immediately go into the weave, and no point in breaking that thread. So I'll do another 36 feet and we'll see how far that makes it. I would estimate that'd be about halfway. We are to the stage of weaving. So this is just very patiently working over, under. When you get to the end, loop the rail, tie it off, and go to the next one. So I've got about an hour into the actual rope work. Took about 40 minutes to clean the boat, and about a half an hour to trim this old material off. Yep, I did that right. So I'm assuming this will take, estimating about an hour. maybe a bit longer. So just a really nice rainy day activity. My buddy and I are planning on going canoe camping in about 4 weeks. So that'll be in November, and by then the bugs will be down. We should have some nice cool evenings, and with great luck we're going to have some superior weather. So cross your fingers on that one. I'll get back with you when this is about done. Now I'm getting near the end, and so it's going to be easier to use a tool attached to the threading material, and so I selected a nail so I can do the weaving up and down. So I just tied the sinew to the nail, and I'm just going to weave it up and down. I was able to do it flexing it, the materials, but now it's too close to this rail, which is not going to move. Well, there she is, all finished up. That'll do. I tested it out. It's pretty darn comfortable, actually.